Hello and welcome to the WeSys webinar today. We're so pleased to have Rhonda here from Optum, and she'll be talking about developing the easy button for security services. My name is Lynn Dome, Women in Cybersecurity Executive Director. We often go by the acronym WeSys, as in We Sisters, and that's exactly what we are. We're a cyber sisterhood. And so we're a community comprised of women, allies, and advocates, all with a strong mission and passion to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. We have over 5,000 members. We have representation in 70 countries, over 70 countries, 38 professional affiliates in Africa, Australia, Canada, France, Pakistan, India, the UK, and all throughout the United States. And we have 130 student chapters in Canada, Costa Rica, India, Nigeria, Puerto Rico, and all throughout the United States as well. So our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity, and we do so by creating opportunities. We have our WeSys conference coming up September 8th through the 10th in Denver, Colorado, and with that, we issue scholarships, faculty lodging grants, BIPOC fellowship awards, and veteran fellowship awards. So the conference is very unique in regardless of gender. It is the largest cybersecurity conference that has equal representation of students and professionals. And how we ensure that is for every single regular registrant, we issue a female cybersecurity student scholarship for that. So since we have a large membership, we have an online member forum where all our members can network and connect. We have skill development training programs brought to us by Google, Bloomberg, Facebook, AWS, the SANS Institute, Target, and many more. We have newsletters and webinars and speaking and media opportunities. We have the Cyber Talent Fund, where students within their last 4 semesters of finishing their education, if they have a true financial emergency, like they have a medical expense or their car breaks down or they can't afford their rent, they could reach out to the WeSys Cyber Talent Emergency Fund and receive that funding within 48 hours. We have a job board plus where our strategic partners recruit from, our strategic partners like Optum that joins us here today. And also all our members could upload their resumes, update their profiles, and get recruited from our job board plus. We participate in market research. We have leadership summits. We have virtual and in-person career fairs, a veterans and a military spouse assistance program. We also are proud that we have launched our Veterans Apprenticeship Program, and we have 21 female WeSys members that are a part of that program right now. Additionally, we have a Speakers Bureau, a mentor-mentee program, which had the 2020 cohort had 707 mentees, 185 mentors, and we developed and designed a 12-month structured framework to upskill and up-level women no matter where they're at in their careers, preparing them for their next level of advancement. The applications for the next round of mentor-mentees will be opening up in August, so we hope everyone that joins us here today will consider applying and being part of that program. We also have a racial equity committee in order to lead and put together a leadership series on leading with allyship, equity, and inclusion, what that looks like. And we have many, many more other additional opportunities. Wherever there's a gap, WeSys as a nonprofit is here to bridge that gap. And we owe that all special thanks to our strategic partners, AWS, Bloomberg, Carnegie Mellon, Software Engineering Institute, Cisco, Facebook, Google, Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Optum, which brings us Rhonda here today for this wonderful webinar. We have AbbVie, JP Morgan Chase & Company, the Navy Federal Credit Union, Nike, SentinelOne, Wayfair, Workday, Accenture, American Airlines, Arctic Wolf, Dell Technologies, Envestnet, Flatiron, Fortinet, Haystack Solutions, Here Technologies, the Home Depot, IBM, MITRE, Oak Ridge National Lab, Palo Alto Networks, Salesforce, SANS, SAP, SmoothStack, SpearTip, Starbucks, Target, University of California, San Diego, and Verizon. And so before I hand over the mic over to Rhonda, I just want to encourage everyone here today that this is our opportunity to ask her lots of questions while she's presenting. At the very end of the presentation, Rhonda will be taking those questions. So at the bottom of your screen, there has the chat there. Please put your questions there, and Rhonda will be sure to get to them. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the WeSys newsletter. We have opportunities for you to subscribe and receive our newsletter notifications and more information on upcoming events and many different training programs. In addition to this, you could join us as a member, as a WeSys member. That's an annual membership fee, and that has all sorts of different benefits. And then you could also connect with us on social media. We have a Facebook group, Facebook page, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it, we're out there and we'd love for you to join us. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Rhonda from Optum, and Rhonda will have you take it away from here.
Excellent. Thank you, Lynn. And thank each of you for taking your time out of your day to join us. I'm excited to talk to everyone. Not only do I get to talk about Optum and UnitedHealth Group, but I have an opportunity to shed a little light on our excellent security service teams and some of the adventures that I've been able to experience here. And as Lynn mentioned before I start, there will be time at the end to ask questions. So please chat them as I go along and we can talk after the presentation. I wanted to start with one of my favorite quotes, and the original by Teddy Roosevelt, which is called Man in the Arena. Well, today we're calling it Woman in the Arena. It's really about daring greatly, showing up and getting up after you fail. Because really it's not about if, it's when. Because being authentic, taking risks, and daring greatly may involve failure, so anticipate it. This quote reminds me when I run into anything, not getting that promotion or new job, a bad review, or even when someone says something that may hurt my feelings. I dust myself off, readjust my helmet and shield, and keep on fighting. More importantly, it gives me an opportunity to grow as a person. A little about me. Well, once again, my name is Rhonda Bricko, and I currently live in the beautiful state of Colorado. My family actually just moved out there last year before the pandemic. I'd lived in Minnesota for over 30 years. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, just south of Green Bay, called Neenah. I encourage everyone to keep learning and growing. Get a mentor or be a mentor and get those certificates, people. I was able to score a couple of those certs myself, which gives me a little bit more confidence and credibility in the security field. I'm passionate about security and I have a high achievement drive. I'm one to problem solve instead of listening to understand. And I'm also known to randomly give unwanted advice. Today, I'm going to talk about my journey. Some may call it a career path, but this is a story about my adventures and perspectives in creating the easy button for security services. I also need to put out a couple of disclaimers. This is a personal journey. My comments regarding UnitedHealth Group or Optum, they will not be confidential in any way. All the materials relating to Optum or UnitedHealth Group are public facing. I will not disclose any intellectual property or trade secrets, third-party information. The information today is purely educational and informational. If this is an actual emergency, please hang up and dial 911 or go to your nearest emergency room. But last but not least, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Well, with that, what is security? I know I'm presenting to a cybersecurity base. We all really know what the basics of security really is. Well, I wanted to start out this way because this is really the crux of my department's opportunity. It wasn't an internal matter. It was an opportunity for our business segments or our project teams, the people we serve, our doctors, clinicians, the pharmacy fulfillment teams, our claim advisors. We needed something easy for them, a place to go to help, to ask questions. Our leader recognized this concern. He listened to those business partners and asked his team to get it done, make it happen. Now, our main goal in security, of course, is to reduce the risk of data breaches and attacks on our IT systems, really keeping the bad actors at bay. One of our main slogans is security is everyone's responsibility. However, if our business segments didn't know how or where to ask questions, or even what security is, with all of our acronyms and jargons, how could they even strive to accomplish this? I'm sure everyone can imagine how frustrating it is if you're responsible for something and you don't know exactly what it's about or even fully understand. Now, most importantly, this idea for an easy button for our customer, wasn't intended to be incident based. So it's not a break fix. We already have a strong SIR team, a security incident response team. This is a journey about partnering with our business segments or our non-technical teams to help them out with any security related questions. Within our security team, we have multiple individual services. We have service owners, and those owners are responsible for individual teams and separate goals, sometimes even individual tools. Our services range from assessments to vulnerability management. Our services are very technical with multiple levels of internal approvals, and approvals could require more than one security team, especially for requests like new software or infrastructure changes. And in turn, what we heard from our business partners, it was hard. They didn't know where to go. They said, please help me. It's too complicated. So let me put this in perspective. Oh, and this is the public information I kind of talked about in my disclaimer. This UnitedHealth group, large organization. We serve many people. We have a focused mission statement and sometimes very complicated solutions. And everyone that I've ever known or worked with here in our department or anywhere else in the enterprise, we all know and understand our mission. We hear it in just about every town hall and most every department meeting. So it's important that we really focus on what matters. We're global. However, the culture that we built here on our values and our ethics and through our technology, we're able to serve our customers and build a better healthcare system. The pure depth of our information and intense planning sessions that I've seen is remarkable. The AI or artificial intelligence and robotics that are being developed are so exciting. And the things that we've already developed have revolutionized our industry, especially in the last year. The sheer volume of our data is truly enormous. And our security services are working hard to keep the bad actors out. Their motto is prevent, detect, and respond. And we have a 24/7 cyber support. And what's more shocking, the 80 terabytes of secure data transfers each year. Today, I get to talk about resolving an opportunity within our organization, and one that continues even today. I don't know if you've ever been called into the principal's office when you were in school or are in school. I'm going to start out with that kind of feeling. So let me set the stage. It was a cold Monday morning in Minnesota, and for dramatic effect, let's say it was 20 below zero, which doesn't even break any records in Minnesota, let me tell you. So the CISO, so the Chief Information Security Officer, the VP, he states something like, "We have a problem. Can you follow me?" And I sat right outside his office. You know it's not going to be a good week when on Monday morning your VP tells you he has a problem. So I grab my pen and my notebook and off I go. Now, I may not remember this next part correctly. I'm not quite sure if it was a cocktail napkin or something like that. But my CISO, he states something like, this isn't a popularity contest. This is a relationship problem. This department, our team, the enterprise needs to break down the barriers and support our business. We need to make it easy for them. When I started this journey, I was kind of surprised at how many services that we have in our department. We have several secret services. We have services that no one even knows about, the internal threat kind. Well, I had the pleasure to meet all of the service owners. I walked through developed a service catalog. I documented the subject matter experts or the SMEs. And during this process, I got to meet Joe. Now, Joe is the guy that knows how to fix everything. The Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. He's the guy that goes home and in his downtime, he codes for fun. Well, when a senior director gets a call from someone in the business, they call Joe to fix it. And in turn, when Joe fixes it, that customer gets Joe's number. And then they call him directly. The next time the customer has a question or an issue, they call Joe. And as you can imagine, Joe is kind of busy. Now, Joe, being the nice guy, but he doesn't document anything. He doesn't tell his manager that he's getting all these calls. And eventually, Joe kind of burns out and soon gets a different job and moves on. The business tries to call Joe and eventually finds out that Joe's moved on. And guess what? They end up calling the senior director again. The senior director needs to find another Joe or Jane, but the circle continues. Now, Joe can have a story all of its own, but I'm going to keep Joe's story kind of high level, but you get the picture idea of what Joe is, right? I'm going to start documenting this process. I start understanding the big picture. I document technical escalations and the questions. We develop a contact list and build an extremely expensive software package to store all of this information in. We run through a project plan and everything's running along. Being overzealous. Now remember, I have a high achievement drive. We may have taken too big of a chunk to start with. The Big Bang has nothing on us. We're aggressive. And as we roll this out, it's so busy. All of the service teams are trained. I spent hours hand-holding individual tickets. And yes, we're still working with Joe on getting resolutions. And the new software expensive is slow with taking requests, sometimes even unresponsive. Well, I want to preface that we did have a major change at the very beginning. We had an elaborate scope and complex workflows. The new vendor came in, and we had an opportunity to partner with the same vendor as our current IT help desk. They came in and broke out these complex workflows into work streams, which gave us a lot more flexibility. And remember when I said our volumes were enormous? Well, we still have minor delays today, but it was nothing like when we first started out. We were getting tickets, and not all the questions were documented or even in the database. And of course, we had to work with a new Joe. And by the time we were ready to have a full rollout plan, the new software up and running, teams fully trained, the senior leaders kind of forgot what we were even doing. I can't express how important it is to make the rounds. Keep communicating. Keep getting the spotlight and getting that feedback internally and with your business partners. Building trust you can depend on starts with following through with your commitments. Solve the problems, follow up, and don't just throw things over the fence and expect others to take it on. I can share a very recent story that happened not too long ago. This started right before the pandemic with one of our more popular services. We have several knowledgeable and dedicated employees on this specific service team. However, one of these employees unexpectedly passed away the year before last. And as you can imagine, it impacted our entire security organization. This particular employee was very well known. Our CISO sent out a note to the whole department, and here are a couple sentences. A person like Quentin has an impact far beyond the work we do together every day. Quentin was a father of 6 and leaves a rich legacy. I hope we can carry on his memory and continue to work the work he is leading for all of us. Well, Quentin was a personal friend to me and to so many others. He is very well missed. And due to our enterprise-wide focus on this service, the team was already shorthanded. Being part of our front office, I knew we needed to help. I was working with the service owner, trying to figure out a different support model. And he said, if I got the senior officers or the BISOs, the business information security officers, in alignment with this new support model, we could make a big impact. So I started calling. I know I had an opportunity to work with all of these senior leaders. Some of these senior leaders had to move meetings so I could talk to them. I put the idea of collaboration out there, and I have to say, not one even hesitated to talk with me. They were all in. And mind you, they asked a lot of questions, how they could help, how many people did they need, was there additional training, and we worked for months. These senior leaders actually met with me for a half hour each week for months. We had those weekly meetings till eventually the support was up and running. All of the questions were answered, and those CISOs, the segment information security officers, were fully trained. Job shadowing was completed. Well, actually, it's an ongoing event each week, but we're now fully supporting and helping the service team. This is one of the examples of so many on how our security senior leaders step up instead of stepping aside and not being available. Our teams are extremely busy, but our leaders know how important it is for their relationship building internally and with our customers, helping our teams be successful, because if one of our teams isn't successful, it reflects on all of us. And I know each of these senior leaders have a passion for security, for doing what's right. They're daring greatly each and every day. Starting over can be very difficult. And once you kickstart a program, you really need to start at the beginning. You need to make sure that your customers are still on board. It was suggested that you might even need to revisit developing a new program charter, answering those questions. Do your customers still have the same questions? Did something change? And there's nothing like the example of last year to ask that. But reevaluating if you still need to make it easy. Do you need to call and talk to someone in your department instead of submitting a ticket? And voila. We created an easy button and access to an 800 number so customers have a choice to call or submit a ticket when they have questions. And let me tell you, setting up a 800 number was the easy part. It's the opportunity of a lifetime to manage phone coverage. Well, months go by. We're humming along, and the numbers look great. We're awesome. We rock on volumes. Well, with all organizations, we have an organizational change. And I'm sure if you're following any of the news in security, it was announced that we now have a new CISO. I'm really excited that she may even be a keynote in September at our WESIS conference. But all of a sudden, our daily life change. We need to take a closer look at things. We need to start getting asked about quality instead of volume. We have to change our focus. Quality. The developer in me is asking, can we even automate that? We need to create an automated way to systematically review or audit our knowledge articles. We must determine, are the security articles clear? Do the links work? Are they even correct? Identifying quality can reveal your process and process flows. What are the end results that you're even trying to accomplish? Never leave your customers behind. You can improve your service if you're not asking or interacting with your customer to ask to understand and be open to hear it. It's important to make sure you're asking the right questions, especially when you're speaking with non-technical teams. I found the basic methods of picking up the phone and calling them, describing what was completed, and ask them what their experience was. Was the process easy? What would they do differently? In dealing with some of these customers, I needed to make sure the customers understood the difference between having us say that they needed to find a different solution versus was the person on the other end of the phone or ticket rude or unprofessional. And what I mean by that is we have very specific services. And let's say we have a request for a policy exception. A security architect looks at the topology or architectural diagrams, comparing their diagram to our policies. Well, these policies reflect our regulatory guidelines. They strengthen our security posture. Others may refer to them as the rules of the road. But our security team looks at a support model and makes suggestions, creates solutions. And if those guidelines are not currently being followed, we need to make sure that we're following those, right? If our customer receives a survey right after this type of scenario, I need to look at the comments and determine the end results. What could have been different besides, paying for those new solutions? Did the security team act in the correct measure of urgency, finding those right questions? Is our enterprise still safe? Dare to get to the bottom of that situation. Keep asking those curious questions. Sometimes those survey questions and answers, the generic questions, rate your customer service 1 to 10. But sometimes the answer is simply picking up the phone and calling your customer. You can collect feedback in many different ways, but keep asking, dare greatly, and listen to understand. Because you know what? 1,000 paper cuts, death by 1,000 paper cuts is real. Security is an ever-changing environment. And if you and your teams are not continuing to learn, you're not involved in intelligence briefings or staying abreast of the current breaches, you're no longer in touch with the state of the state or the current security environment. Data breaches are expensive, not only on the money side, the financial, but company's reputation, not including the actual data that was compromised. Keeping your teams focused in a learning mode, a growth mindset. Within the front office, we've been able to focus on this growth mindset Our team is continually learning and growing. Along with that, we're adding additional services. We're averaging about one new service a month. Best of all, we're adding value to the entire enterprise, helping people with their security-related questions. And in turn, through technology, I help make the healthcare system work better for everyone. I will once again encourage everyone to get those certificates. And last but not least, I would like to stress how important it is to get a mentor or be a mentor. I have a mentor. I'm able to bounce ideas off and get a perspective. Most importantly, stay grounded. And with that, at this time, I'd like to open up for any of the questions.
Rhonda, this is a great webinar. Thank you so much for presenting it today. I love all how you infused a lot of those quotes and always kept the common thread of daring greatly. I mean, that is such a critical piece in it all.
Oh, thank you, Lynn.
So it doesn't seem like we have any questions coming in right now. I think you did such a wonderful job covering it all that there's and we have lots of viewers joining us today, and so we appreciate everyone's time and attention for being part of the WESIS Bright Talk channel, for joining us today. We're so grateful for Optum to always be sharing their expertise and their knowledge and their strength with the entire WESIS community, and really
Oh, thank you.
all of women in cybersecurity. Optum is just such a great contributor, and you do so much good for the sake of good. It's always a pay it forward attitude and energy that comes from the entire Optum team. So for us as a nonprofit organization, we just are so grateful for your contributions.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we have some questions that come in. Someone mentioned wonderful presentation, so that's fabulous. Thank you for that. I agree 100%. Rhonda did a wonderful job. And so a question came in as, how do you stay up to date with technology when it changes so quickly?
Oh, that's actually a great question. There's a couple different formats from our enterprise-wide. We have a wonderful team that presents every other week now on the current state of the state. But if you're also looking at getting certified, you can go out to like the ISACA at I think the second or third slide. They have education and training and some of the new ideas and things that are going on out in the environment. So that's a very good way to stay up to date, is a lot of the programs.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a question about the BIZO. That is a newer term that's really coming out strong. I mean, when cybersecurity was once just, an IT thing that was just like called in every so once in a while. And now it's this big C-suite and really getting baked into every section of the organization. I myself was once on a panel, a few weeks ago with a women in the banking industry, and she said that they're a cybersecurity company that just so happens to be doing banking on the side. And I think that's like that's it. That collectively really does summarize the state of cybersecurity and how it is baked into every business development piece of a major company. So for Optum, being the large scope and incredible employer and large company and business that you are, when did you start seeing this BIZO role really starting to take place? And when did you start seeing the cybersecurity getting infused and baked into every part of the business elements?
Well, that's a great question and good point, Lynn, because we've had the security officers around for several years, and the whole department keeps growing and changing, and it isn't just for the sake of, shall I say, learning and growing either. We're really looking at what the environment is, and if you're charging down and looking at the ransomware or what other hacks that can happen, they're really needing to keep their finger on the pulse, right? So the security officers, they work with each of the business segment groups to really look at that. It's been a long road keeping the security on the forefront of all of our developers and in the developer community. It's really a top-down model that we've structured, and so many excellent leaders. My example, right? The excellent leaders that we have. That's a huge shout out to them because they really want to partner with the business. They listen and they go through it. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, I love how you give a shout out to the leaders, because leading by example is really so critical, especially with cybersecurity and the open lines of communication. And so it once was seen like cybersecurity, when cybersecurity was kind of brought into the picture, it was, you know, people were getting reprimanded. But now tables have really turned, because it's this open lines of communication where just sharing the knowledge and listening to everyone and coming up with solutions that really work, and knowing the community and the environment that they're working in, and having this just cohesive, streamlined, kind of ebb and flow of communication is really what makes cybersecurity work so seamlessly within each and every business development. So leading by example is just a really prime point that you make there that really resonates with me. From the folks on the Optum team that I've worked in, I could certainly attest to how they lead by example, because each and every one of them just have this authentic, genuine, way about them of really just educating more about cybersecurity and bringing it forward to everyone involved. So it's great. Well, I appreciate your time and attention. I know we're coming close to time here, and Rhonda, it's always a pleasure to have you here as a WESIS webinar host and presenter. You were with us once before, and so we're happy to have you a couple times before. So we're happy to have you back, and we hope that you'll be joining us again soon. The audience loves you, and this webinar recording will remain on our Bright Talk channel. It will remain as evergreen content on our website. We'll be also sending it to everyone that registers so they could have a copy in their inbox as well. So if anyone has any further questions, please ping Rhonda on LinkedIn. She's there and available. And if you need anything else, you're always welcome to reach out to WESIS at info@wesis.org. So Rhonda, is there anything else that you would like to end the webinar with?
Well, just dare greatly. Get out there. Rock on. Thank you. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Rhonda. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.